Brought to you by 1AAuto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet.
Hi, I'm Mike Green. I'm one of the owners of 1A Auto. I want to help you save time and money repairing and maintaining your vehicle. I'm going to use my 20 plus years experience restoring and repairing cars and trucks like this to show you the correct way to install parts from 1AAuto.com. The right parts installed correctly. That's going to save you time and money. Thank you, and enjoy the video.
This video is part one of a multiple part series, and we're going to replace the timing belt in this 2002 Toyota Tundra. And in this video we pretty much go through disassembling the front of the engine down to where you would be removing the harmonic balancer. The tools you'll need are jack and jack stands, as you do have to raise and support the vehicle to get a couple of things out from the bottom. You'll need a catch pan, various sockets and wrenches from 10 millimeters to 22 millimeters, with the most common ones being the 12 millimeter and 14 millimeter. Pliers, screwdrivers. You'll need two 12 millimeter wrenches for removing the fan. Impact wrench or harmonic balancer tool for loosening and tightening the harmonic balancer bolt, harmonic balancer puller, a torque wrench, and lots of room to organize your parts. As you take the parts apart, you want to lay them out basically in order and put the hardware with them. Just makes it easier for reassembling everything. Using a 10 millimeter wrench, disconnect your negative battery cable. Okay, in this shop the vehicle's up on a lift. You really don't need to do that to get the skid plate off and to drain the radiator. I just do it because it makes filming a whole lot easier, but you will need to jack and support the car later to get some other components off.
Okay, we're going to start by removing a series of 12 millimeter bolts and taking off this skid plate.
And we'll fast forward through removing those bolts, and we will use fast forward quite a bit to try and keep this as short as possible.
Okay, once you have that out of the way, your radiator drain is right here. It should just come loose with your fingertips. If not, you can use a pair of pliers and drain your radiator.
While the radiator drains, you can start removing some of the top plates. Two 10 millimeter nuts hold the little name plate on top, and then a 10 millimeter bolt holds that hose clamp. Okay, use a Phillips screwdriver to loosen the clamp from the intake tube to the air filter box, as well as there is an electrical connection on top of the air filter box that you need to disconnect, and then use your screwdriver to loosen the clamp for the throttle body side, and then pull that tube up and out of the way. Okay, use a pair of pliers and you pinch the clamps and slide them back off the end of the hose, and then the clamps can just stay right on the hose like that. Now twist and pull to remove the hoses from the radiator and the inlet tube. Same procedure for the upper on the passenger's side hose. You'll reach the lower. It's much easier from the bottom side of the truck.
Okay, disconnect this little overflow tube. Just kind of squeeze with your hand. We're going to remove 4 bolts that hold the shroud to the radiator down here, and then over on this side. These are 10 millimeter.
Okay, we'll speed through that, and just as a reminder, as you're taking these parts apart, lay them out neatly and put the hardware with them so it makes it easier to reinstall in the end.
Now we're going to remove 4 12 millimeter bolts. One there, one right down there, one there, and one down there. Okay, if you get to the lower ones, it's best if you have a 2-inch extension.
Okay, and we'll fast forward here. The radiator is still held in by a couple of slots and tabs, so you don't have to worry about it falling out when you remove these bolts.
Okay, now there's a couple of cooler lines that we're going to disconnect. One there and one there. We can also take the lower radiator hose off.
And we do have a drain pan ready in case we get some transmission fluid dripping out of those lines. Okay, fast forward here as we remove those lines, just like the upper radiator hoses, pinch the clips, pull them back, pull them off, and as well the lower radiator hose, and as you can see some coolant does drip out, so have your catch pan ready.
Okay, now push your fan shroud out. Okay. And lift the radiator right up. Tilt it back. And now you can grab your fan shroud, tilt it back, up and out. Okay, next thing you want to do is remove the fan.
Okay, so filming this was almost impossible. To get the nuts off of the radiator fan, you use two 12mm wrenches, hold one nut with one of the wrenches, and then undo 3 of the nuts with the other one.
And then once you're down to just one bolt left, okay, you can see down here, I actually threaded a bolt on backwards, and then you can put a screwdriver in here and use the screwdriver to hold the assembly while you loosen the last bolt. All the nuts are off. Just kind of shake the fan back and forth while you're pulling.
And once you feel that it's loose, ease up on the pulling forward because you don't want to have it come forward too fast and hit your AC condenser too hard.
Okay, now with a 14mm socket, okay, and a ratchet handle or bar, you want to turn your tensioner counterclockwise. Remove the tension from the belt.
Okay, fast forward as I remove the belt and then also take the fan pulley off.
Okay, now you want to take your same wrench and go clockwise. This bolt actually comes out opposite, so righty actually is loosey. And remove this tensioner pulley. Okay, over here we have a pipe that goes down to the oil cooler that we're going to remove. And we're going to remove that by loosening, I'm going to put the pan back under it, loosen up a clamp here, there's a clamp right up here, and then this clamp here, and there's also a small bolt here, 10mm bolt to loosen up for a bracket that holds it. Okay, there's another little nut here holding a bracket, 10mm.
Okay, now fast forward here as I just remove the rest of the clamps, and I apologize, the camera shifts here a little bit and you can't really see what I'm doing, but I'm just removing the clamps and then removing that hose assembly the rest of the way. Next we want to remove the AC compressor from the engine. I didn't do a great job filming it, so I want to just kind of go over it before I show you the footage. Basically, the AC compressor is held on by 3 14mm bolts, but the top front bolt is blocked by a small bracket, and the bottom bolt is blocked by a reinforcement bracket that's held on by a 12mm bolt and a 12mm nut. Start out by disconnecting the AC compressor. It's a gray terminal. It has a little release button. You just have to find where that button is, press it, and it should come up and off. Next, there's a little bracket held in by a Phillips screw, so use a large Phillips screwdriver. You may need to use a hammer, tap on the screwdriver to loosen the screw, and then it should come out. Here up underneath is a 12mm bolt and the 12mm nut that hold the reinforcement bracket that blocks your front lower bolt. And then going up further back underneath, and you can see you need to lift and support the car to do this. You can see that the rear bolt, and I point to it in a minute, the rear bolt for the AC compressor is right here. It's another 14 millimeter bolt. Okay, and just to further clarify, looking down from the bottom, you want to get to all the bolts from the bottom, and you can see we have a 6-inch extension on our ratchet that goes to a socket, and that's hooked onto the rear bolt right now. I remove the last bolt from the top here and let the AC compressor just kind of drop down. Good idea for these parts that don't come away from the car. Take all the attaching hardware, have a couple of Ziploc baggies, put them into the Ziploc baggies and label them again just to make reassembly that much easier. Okay, use a flat blade screwdriver to help you disconnect the crank position sensor, and then you'll want to pull the wire up and out from its clip that clips it to the engine. And then there are two more little harness clips that you just use a screwdriver to help you separate the clip and then pull that harness out so that it can be moved out of the way. And then over on the passenger side, timing chain cover, there's just a little clip that holds a couple of tubes. Undo the clip, pull those tubes out of there. Now you want to remove this water inlet, 12 millimeter bolts. Okay, rubber mallet. Loosen it up a little bit. You just want to carefully try and pull it as straight out as possible. Okay, your idler pulley is held in by a 14 millimeter bolt. Go ahead and remove that. Okay, here I'm undoing the 12 millimeter bolts that hold my center cover on, timing belt cover, and then 3 10 millimeter bolts and a 10 millimeter nut right in the center that hold my right hand or passenger side timing cover on. Okay, and to the other side, driver's side or left hand side, there are 4 10 millimeter bolts that hold the cover on, and the nut you already removed, it was holding that tube on. It was one of the nuts holding the bracket of the tube. Then when you pull it off, you have to pull the wire through, pull the grommet out, and free the wire. Now on the passenger side or right hand side of the engine, you're going to want to remove the power steering pump. You're just removing the pump from the engine, you're not disconnecting it. There's 3 nuts or 2 nuts and a bolt that you can access right through the holes in the pulley, and then once you have the bolts and nuts off, the pump just pulls. You have to pull it pretty firmly right up and off the stud and kind of lay it down to the side. Okay, and then same thing for the alternator. There is a 14 millimeter nut and a 14 millimeter bolt down below. Remove those, pull it forward, and just kind of lay it down to the side. And then there are 2 additional 12 millimeter nuts, or I think a nut and a bolt, for your tensioner. So you want to remove those, and then you can pull the tensioner right off. And it looks like we're really starting to make some headway here. Now we're going to remove the bracket assembly or the fan pulley assembly. It's got 2 12 millimeter fasteners and then 2 14 millimeter fasteners. At this point, we've got basically the front end of the engine taken apart. I'm going to end this video for now, and just to see the continuation, just check out part 2. We hope this helps you out. Brought to you by www.oneauto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet. Please feel free to call us toll-free 888-844-3393. We're the company that's here for you on the internet and in person.